This radio station, bros, is for a lot of things. It's an incredible place where we all do this together. And we got to do it together in an amazing way last February when the Eagles won a championship. And we got to do the opposite today because last night in every way, shape, and form was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. I got so many emotions this morning. Bros, good morning, man. The season is over. We'll get to the Eagles, whatever the hell that was. But that just hurt, man. That hurt. That one felt – we've done this 4 years in a row. And I had just felt differently last night when that ended. Good morning, bro. It says the Phillies go down in Game 4.
Devastated. Oh, I'm just gutted. There's so much pain. I couldn't even comprehend what the hell was going on last night. My body was shaking. I was so uncomfortable. Like that, Joe, I mean, you're telling me after everything that could have happened to lose a series and to unfortunately fall again, that's what we got? I feel bad for the kid. I do. I'll get more into why. You know, maybe Rob shouldn't have went that way. Maybe he should have stayed with Luzardo. But I feel bad for the kid. You can tell he just blacked out and the moment was too big.
Yeah, it was. And look, for a series to end on a mental error like that, like I felt numb watching it. I must have replayed it like 5 times. My son was coming downstairs like he's kind of going to sleep, but not. He's 10, and he's like, wait, are they going to win? And then he knew the game was still going on, and I was like, all right, just come watch it. And I felt bad making him watch it, but I was like, he's got to see it. And we watched
hold on. You're telling him to sit there and soak in the pain?
Well, he asked me what happened. What am I supposed to say?
I don't know. You have to lie and say everything's going well, bud.
Part of becoming a man.
Yeah, it is. It was like an indoctrination. Man, I felt numb watching it because it was almost like it happened in slow motion, right? The balls hit back to him. And he had plenty of time. I mean, he had time to make the play. And it just was, it was a brain meltdown and then the physical meltdown. And then, like, it's not just a game, bro. It's this era. Like, you think about it. And I was thinking this morning about my emotion after every one. I was in here, actually, on this show, in for John Ritchie with the camera the Monday after Game 6 of the 2022 World Series. And I remember sitting there with Joe that day, and I said, I'm not angry. I'm proud. Like, that team had no business taking the Astros to the brink. I was proud of them. Then 23 happened, and it was like, they choked. They choked that to a bet. They were better than the Diamondbacks, and they choked it away. Last year, I was angry at them because I thought they went out as chumps to the Mets. I mean, they played like chumps in that series. This one, I don't have any of those emotions, man. I'm dejected. I'm sad. And I do feel like this was the end. And not that the franchise is done and they can't retool. We'll get to that over the course of the next few weeks and all that. But I just feel like this group's run is never going to be the same. They're not a young team. And, bros, every sport has these teams, right? Every era has these teams where it's like they're good enough to win a championship, but they don't, right? You know, like you go back to the 90s where Jordan would stop all those good NBA teams from winning. The Eagles in the 2000s with Hugh and Ike and Donovan. Like every era in sports has those teams. And it kind of hit me as they walked off the field last night. Bros, I feel like we got one of those teams. Like they got enough to win a championship, but every year something happens.
Yeah, and you look at this starting pitching. That's winning championship caliber starting pitching.
Yep.
What you saw from Sanchez, that was a young, proud father watching. Like, I remember when he was playing the 5th starter role and bouncing up and down. Now he's shoving on the road in a back against the wall type of game, and he's making Freddie Freeman look like he's Johan Rojas. I mean, it's crazy what was happening from Sanchez and Luzardo and Ranger Suarez, and even my guy Knowles. What you got out of the starting pitching was outrageous. That's championship caliber starting pitching, but they're just not a detailed team. Their offense is way too inconsistent, and that's really what led to this downfall. And that sucks, man. You paid these guys so much money to come up clutch, to have big ABs. As great as Kyle Schwarber chasing down Ryan Howard potentially was, well, we need you, man. We need you more than just a Game 3, and he wasn't there. And same applies to Trey, 0 for 5. This guy, I was told, could be MVP candidate with Kyle, and he's getting disrespected. Well, I need you in an NLDS against your former team. He was a nobody. Bryce wasn't there. I mean, that's where it was lost.
Yeah, you're totally right on that. And as much as I'm just disappointed that Kerkering melted down in that moment. He didn't lose the game. Like that game, like that was the moment, and it's going to get replayed forever, unfortunately. But that game wasn't on Orion Kerkering and that deep into extra innings. It was on the offense. I mean, they stunk yesterday, and really, bros, they've stunk for the most part in a lot of postseasons recently, right? They have a blow up every now and then, like in Game 3 where they score all those runs. Like, oh, they're back. and then they don't do it again. And these postseason games we were talking about before the show, they come down to little moments, right? Like you don't blow teams out, you don't roll through series like that. It's little moments, and the Phillies' little moments are bad moments. I mean, they just are. They can't find themselves in that moment, and it's so disappointing. Because you only get so many shots at this, man. You only get so many shots. This is the oldest team in baseball. I don't know if Wheeler will be himself ever again. And I think I felt it when they walked off the field last night, bro. It's like I think that's part of the reason I'm feeling the way I am today, that they're one of those teams in sports history. I saw it on their faces. Like they know it, right? Like I always think it's one of the saddest things in sports when a team can't say it, but you see it on their face. They know it might just not happen for them.
Yeah, well, guess what? The Eagles might be thinking the same thing. More on that later.
Woo.
But hold on. I just want to add a little cherry on top to this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's not just the offense that's extremely disappointing. I'm going to add the manager. I think for as bad as the offense was, I thought Rob Thompson was embarrassing when it comes to playoff baseball and playoff managing. You have to nail decisions. You have to be perfect. As close as you can to be perfect. And I thought, even Ranger starting game 3, well, then you have to use him in game 1. Instead, he goes to David Robertson for the 7th, and he can't even be utilized the rest of the series. So, game 1, you felt so good about this guy, David Robertson, that he goes 6 and 7, yet you can't use Ranger, but you use him in game 3, and then you put Kerkering into inherit runners when he stinks at inheriting runners, and the list goes on and on. So, you want to play that game that the offense was horrible and lifeless? That is true. I thought Rob is right up there with disappointment with the offense. And I'm a Rob guy. I went in thinking you had an advantage. Dave Roberts, Rob Thompson, I'm rocking with Rob. He's managing different. He's benching Castellanos. He's doing this. He's doing that. Man, what a dud from the manager, too.
It was bad. It really was. And I when they brought him in 22 and made the manager, I thought he was great that whole season, getting to the World Series. But as the years have gone on, it's almost like he and the team mirror each other. Like it's going the wrong way. I thought it was like quicksand this series. Like every time he stepped in it, it got worse and worse. And yesterday, look, did he lose that game yesterday? No, the bats are really the issue. I agree with you. Kerkering with inherited runners has been a problem for the entire season. Look, we could debate the Ohtani walk to get to Betts. I thought he gave Duran no margin for error there. And I know that's Duran. He can't walk Mookie Betts to walk the run in. But, man, you traded for Duran to get those outs. I would have let him try to get those outs there. 215-592-9494. What's the emotion today as this thing is over? And I do feel deep down that this run is over. I just don't think this group is ever going to, 1, be together again, 2, be as great as they've been the last 4 years. And I feel numb this morning because 4 years they've given us a lot of joy, but it just feels like they're one of those teams that cannot get over the hump. All right, today's the day for everyone to vent, to get it off their chest. Hunter Brody in for Hugh today. And this was planned, but I think we would have suspended Hugh anyway for the day. Yeah, I mean, we got a little call before the show.
He called me. First, one of the first 3 words that came out of his mouth was Cam Scatterbo, and I almost hung up.
And that's, we would have hung up on him if he was here. Yeah, that's a joke. All right, Kyle, what are you feeling this morning as it all ends?
Yeah, so you, Broads, Max, all the callers, listeners, get out of my face. Get the hell out of my face.
Well, we got to be here for the next 4 hours.
I know. But I mean, I'm eyeing up the skookle. So if you see me not paying attention today,
okay.
My head keeps turning
not that far
toward the
away.
skookle.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm not encouraging. I'm just telling
and it might be a little cold today, but we'll wait see if it warms up a little bit. I mean, I almost kind of have to laugh at this point because it is impressive to a degree the manner in which these teams, especially like the Phillies, and when you get to these deep parts of the postseason, how they find creative ways to give you hope and then just stab you right in the heart, in a variety of ways. The way that game ended last night, I've never seen anything like that in my life, and it's got to be one of the biggest individual player choke jobs that I've ever seen. And I know that a lot of people today are going to be like, don't put this on Orion Kerkering. This is on the offense. I agree. The series boils down to our offense didn't hit. Guess what? Dodgers offense didn't really hit either. I mean, in playoff baseball, these games, these series, all these moments, they come down to one little thing.
Yeah.
Whoever makes the fewest amount of errors or whoever makes that one error. And Kerkering made the biggest error of them all. I mean, the error that ended the season. It's one of the craziest things that I've ever seen. That clip of him picking up the ball and bobbling it and then not throwing it to first base while JT's pointing there and then flailing it over JT's head is going to replay in my head forever. Like, I went to sleep with that, like, playing on a loop last night, and it was hard for me to go to sleep. Remember when I came in a few weeks ago, and I was looking green and violently ill?
Yeah.
I feel worse than that today. I mean, I'm almost, like, numb to it all at this point.
Yeah, you said people are going to feel bad. You can feel empathy for the person, right? Orion Kirkering, the person.
Yeah, what about me?
Yeah, but, well...
I was not where I thought you were going to go with that.
But as far as the player goes, it is an all-time... It's an all-time meltdown. I mean, it's an all-time... It is I don't know if I've ever seen a playoff series end on a mental... I know it was a physical error, right? He threw the ball past J2, but it was a mental error. He forgot where he was. He forgot the situation. He just... I mean, bro, the runner's not even halfway to first base.
No.
He picks the ball up. They're out of the inning, and Kyle brought this up in the meeting before the show. Treinen is warming up. Like, we got the guy we can hit in that bullpen ready to go. We're probably talking about Game 5 if he just throws the ball to first base.
If they got to the top half of that extra inning, they were winning the game because of how bad. That's equivalent to if Brandon Workman and that garbage curveball came back.
Yeah.
That's what they were warming up
yeah.
in the pen. So you had an opportunity there. And this is why I go back to Topper, right? And if you tell me all throughout the regular season in June, in July, in games in August that don't even have 1/3 of the pressure that we're talking about here, if you can't do a job inheriting runners then, you're telling me you're going to put the guy in who's bad at it with the added pressure of the season being on the line and extra innings on the road versus this Dodgers lineup? And I say that to say you black out, you make a mistake, you have a mental error, you don't know what to do, you have the yips in the moment. Well, that kind of correlates to the guy who has a bad job inheriting runners. It all correlates. You put in a guy to fail, and you got to stay with Luzardo. That's the move there. And if you give up a hit, you put up your hands, you shrug, and say, okay, but there's cold-blooded in the playoffs. You see that in Sanchez. You see that in Duran. You see that in Luzardo. You see that in Ranger.
Yep.
There's cold-blooded, and then there's guys who just can't handle it. And I think Kirkering is young, and I hope he can get there one day. But it was clear he's not on the level of ice in the veins.
Yeah, listen, if the Dodgers are a great team, they're probably going to win the World Series again. But if they had just beat the Phillies around for 40 games, I would have said, oh, what are we going to do? We face a super team. The Phillies beat themselves. I mean, part of me feels like the Dodgers in that clubhouse probably like, man, they gave it to us. They gave it to us in Game 2. They gave it to us in Game 4. And you just can't do that in a short series. 215-592-9494. Dejected, numb, angry, disappointed. What are you feeling this morning as the Phillies go down?